Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today I'm bringing you in-depth tour of a 2017 Honda NSX. This has been made possible by the team at Yeoman's Honda Guildford. If you'd like to know more about this car, or any other of their models, please find their contact details in the description below. This new model comes 12 years after the legendary first new sports car experimental, the origins of the NSX acronym. The new NSX was built with the intention of being at the pinnacle of sports performance, but also delivering a comfortable daily driving experience. It was crafted from the driver out to create an intuitive, driver-focused link. Seen here in 130 white, it comes in 8 different colour choices. The NSX comes with a substantial amount of tech, which unfortunately makes it a rather heavy supercar at 1725 kilograms. It is constructed mainly from ablation cast aluminium, an apparent world first. That means its body is both strong and malleable at the construction phase. Carbon fibre is used on the roof to lower its centre of gravity, and also around the engine bay with splashings both inside and out. The new hybrid NSX gets its power from 3 sources. Firstly, the rear mid-engined 3.5 litre twin-turbo V6 that produces 500 brake horsepower and 406 pounds-feet of torque. Next is the direct drive electric motor, situated between the engine and transmission, that provides an additional 47 brake horsepower and 109 pounds-feet. Finally, 2 additional electric motors are mounted to the front axle, each producing 36 brake horsepower and 54 pounds-feet. The car can be run in electric mode alone, but the combined hybrid power comes out at 573 brake horsepower and 476 pounds-feet. This performance results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time in the low 3 seconds, as an official time hasn't yet been posted, and a top speed of 191 mph. At the rear is the quad outlet Aventador-esque exhaust. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a sound clip. This NSX sits on 19-inch front and 20-inch rear, machined interwoven alloy wheels that come together to create 5 rhomboids. A smooth ride is provided by magnetic dampers, but also a new system known as Sport Hybrid Super Handling All-Wheel Drive. Stability is helped further by another electronic system called Direct Yaw Control, which assists the limited slip differential. Its stopping power is provided by Brembo brakes and optional carbon ceramic discs, which aren't selected here. Now we've had a look at the car's performance and profile, let's take an in-depth look from front to back. Honda's Aero design for the NSX has been dubbed interwoven design due to the level of airflow that is channeled through as well as along the car. It starts with the optional angular carbon front splitter that sits below a series of vents. These channel air through the bonnet and over the windscreen after exiting other vents. On either side sit grills to feed air into the awaiting radiators and cooling systems for the electric motors and engine. Above, a brushed aluminium effect strip breaks up the gloss black and paintwork. The car's narrow and aggressive bi-xenon main and LED day running lights are found in the usual places. The bonnet features ridges on either side, presumably for extra cooling in Aero. The vents atop release the air brought in by those at the front. Laterally, there are small vents behind each wheel arch that facilitate greater airflow from the front motors and also help provide lateral aero. Above these are angular wing mirrors with an alternating colour scheme and side indicators. The gloss carbon roof above helps to keep the car's centre of gravity low for improved manoeuvrability. I personally really like the lines that run through it. Returning to the side, there are more aggressive lines running through the door and towards the rear air intakes. Running below are matte carbon side skirts that are also part of the carbon exterior pack. Moving up and further back, we find the rectangular door handles that I will show you in more detail later in the video. Finally, the rear air intakes that suck cool air into the rear engine bay, and also help to provide further aero benefit thanks to the strut that travels along above. In front of this is a small window inscribed with NSX. The previously mentioned arch actually runs from front to back, creating a small channel between a small angular aero archway. The rear panel introduces smoother design language on top of the rear arches, tied in with sharp lines. The rear boot cover ducktails slightly. A carbon lip spoiler can be added here, but unfortunately hasn't been. The rear of the NSX is actually quite flat, with the reversing camera above the logo and the almost body-length brake light below. The car's rear brake, reverse and indicators follow the same angular design language. Under a series of grills that presumably contribute towards weight saving and cooling is a rear diffuser with 3 fins on either side. The grills extend to the sides and are accompanied by reflectors. Now we've completed the external tour, let's move inside. The key is equally angular with NSX on each side and buttons to unlock, lock and open the boot. The door is opened by depressing the tip of the door handle, forcing the rear out, which can then be pulled outwards. The interior of the NSX is a mix of carbon, leather and lightweight metals. It is understated, but clearly crafted from high quality materials with an ergonomic design. The car itself is low and wide, but the sill is easy to navigate. It is so easy to egress and ingress that I could manage it even with only partial entry through the driver's door. The sill itself features illuminated plaques with carbon inlays. Before going into more detail, I'll now take you on a brief POV tour of the interior. Now in more detail, let's start with the doors. They are topped with leather, which runs to a small tweeter speaker ahead with the aluminium door handle and window controls below. The sleek black release catch is easily operated. On the driver's side are the fuel cap and engine cover release buttons. Below these are controls for lock, electric windows and electric mirrors. At the foot of the door, concealed when closed, is a small off button with the rather prominent pentagonal speakers ahead. Moving inside, we first find buttons for the parking sensors and to turn the traction control off. The squared off wheel features two button arrays. Left is for torque and volume, with the right controlling trip and cruise control. Its carbon inlay creates a more dynamic feel in my opinion. One press without a depressed brake starts the screen sequences. The driver has a digital main screen flanked by two smaller dials. Furthest left is for temperatures. The central screen houses the speedo, rev gauge, battery displacement and charge, with the fuel gauge to the right. The trip is quite in depth, with info for oil level, tyre pressure, a compass, next service time, average speed and range. There are 3 additional buttons to the right, with the bottom button changing speed limits. Moving centrally, the sweeping aluminium really is the main feature of the central column. But let's start from top to bottom. There are 2 air vents with quite limited movement. There's quite a large and very responsive TFT display below, with shortcut icons to the side for various menus. The home menu offers options for the navigation module, call options, car information, audio and entertainment, phone connectivity and general settings. There are other pages, but they were blank here. The main screen also has a selection of downloadable apps and widgets that can presumably be used to fill the empty screens. Below the screen is a button array for climate and ventilation. Below this is the main control for the integrated dynamic system that is used to select the different drive modes. The first is Quiet or E mode, then Sport, Sport Plus, and finally Track, which requires the knob to be held to the right before it switches. These modes gradually create a more race-inspired setup. Below the IDS are 4 buttons, for Park, Reverse, Neutral, Drive and Manual. The NSX has a 9-speed dual-clutch transmission that can be left in auto mode or used manually utilising the wheel-mounted paddles. There are small buttons for the heated seats on either side. The seats are upholstered in leather and Alcantara with contrast stitching. I personally found these seats firm but quite comfortable, although I can't comment on how comfortable they are over time or how much support they provide. They are electronically adjustable with controls to the side. Let's take a look at the NSX's storage capacity. There is a small open compartment in the central column, with a more substantial one that includes device connectivity between the seats. It's not storage, but let's take a quick look at the carbon fibre clad engine bay. Turning round, we can look at the passenger glove compartment, upholstered in Alcantara, that houses more device connectivity. Moving outside, and we actually find the boot at the rear, quite rare for a car branded as a supercar. It is unsurprisingly limited, but comes with netting, and it's impressive that it exists at all. Moving back inside, we find mirrorless leather sun visors with lighting and garage door controls in the usual place above. So that concludes my tour of this 2017 Honda NSX. Thanks again to Yeoman's Honda for the opportunity. Please find all of their contact details in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, cheers.